welcome back to the channel. I am going to do Sabaton's History Channel reaction for Lady of the Dark. I've had many comments saying you need to listen to the History Channel, and I've finally gotten around to actually starting to do those. I thought it was fitting to do Lady of the Dark because only a few days ago was Remembrance Day, which was the end of World War One or the Great War, and Milunka. I'm very sorry about that. Milunka Savić. She was in the frontline combat during the Great War. So we'll take a look at the History Channel and see a little bit more about her story.
Hello there, I'm Pat from Sabaton.
And I'm Indy Nidell, and this is Sabaton History.
One of the most badass and most decorated soldiers of the Great War was not a man.
No, it was not. It was a woman, Milunka Savić. Milunka Savić was a badass. That is the simple truth. She was not only one of the few women who actively fought in the Great War, she did so for its entirety and became one of the most decorated women in military history. She was possibly born June 28, 1888, in the village of Koprivnica, Serbia. I say possibly because there aren't really any records of her family background or of her childhood. We know she had a brother because she joined the Serbian military in 1912 posing as a man, her brother. There are claims that she did this so he wouldn't have to serve, but that is not by any means certain. She did, however, want to see active duty, and women were only allowed to be medical staff at the time. She soon got
Interesting fact, women have not been able to be in combat roles up until recent time. I know in Australia, the first time that women were allowed to actually do an active or direct conflict line role was in 2016. Before that, they were usually enlisted as nursing staff or doing other menial tasks. So she was definitely well above her time.
plenty of action, fighting in both the Balkan Wars with a unit known as the Iron Regiment, and was promoted to corporal. She was wounded at the Battle of Bregalnica in the Second War by a Bulgarian grenade. It was the field surgeons who discovered that she was, in fact, a woman. Hey, you guys, imagine being those surgeons, right? Hey, Rickard, okay, think of that. Like, come on, guys, that soldier's just been hit by a grenade. You're okay, soldier. Look, I'm just going to take a look. What? Wait, what? I mean, imagine being those guys. Well...
Definitely. Imagine being a field soldier, like Indy said, and like thinking that you're going to treat a male's wounds only to open their shirt and find out that they certainly were not male. It would have been a big shock to them.
Anyhow, she recovered, but the brass wondered what to do with her. I mean, she was a really good soldier, so they didn't want to punish her or anything. And let's be clear, the military deployment that resulted in her gender reveal was her 10th deployment. They did offer her a transfer to nursing, which she refused. Apparently, she was standing at attention and said she wanted to fight battles for her country and would only accept active service. The officer facing her said he'd think it over and give her an answer the next day. Still at attention, she supposedly said, "I will wait." He only made her wait for an hour before giving her the green light and another chance at fighting. And boy, did she take that chance, because the Great War broke out the next year, and Serbia found itself repeatedly invaded by hundreds of thousands of Austro-Hungarian imperial soldiers. In November and December 1914, the Battle of Kolubara was fought. But though the Serbs were big underdogs, They not only won, they drove the Austrians right out of Serbia. Milunka Savić became a national hero after that. There were many tales of her actions at Kolubara. She crossed no man's land alone, tossing grenades, jumped into an Austrian trench, and took 20 prisoners single-handedly. Tales like these may well be true, or they may be exaggerations. She was honored, though, with the Star of Karađorđe with swords, which was the highest honor the Kingdom of Serbia offered.
So you could pretty much say that the stories that you heard about her were probably true.
In the ancient house of war, on the medals of the stories, in the alley of the graves, celebrated hero who has wandered through the dark. She stood before you on that metal shining light.
Later on, after the Bulgarians had joined this war and Serbia was again under siege, she cleared out a Bulgarian trench and took 23 prisoners single-handedly, for which she was awarded a second such star. So there was obviously a whole lot of truth to the tales of her valor. That last happened at the Battle of Černa. And after that, the Serbian army retreated across the snowy mountains to the Albanian coast. And they only had like 100,000 troops left. They were evacuated by the British and French, and Milunka's unit then became a Serbian brigade in the French army. She was wounded in Tunisia and then fought on the Salonika or Macedonian front until 1918, becoming a non-commissioned officer. She was wounded a total of 9 times and was decorated time and again by a variety of nations, being awarded the Russian Order of Holy George for courage, the British Medal of the Order of St. Michael, winning the French Legion of Honor twice, and also being the only woman in the Great War to win France's Croix de Guerre.
What an accomplishment for a military career in a short period of time. Because the Great War only lasted from 1914 to 1918, so she did all this within a 4-year period.
How good was she? Well, one of many exploits was when she was challenged by a French officer in Thessaloniki who couldn't believe a woman was so capable. He set up a bottle of 1880 cognac and said if she could shoot it from 40 meters, she could have the other 19 bottles in the case. It took her just one single shot. That story, though, is also told with it being the French officer refusing to believe she could throw grenades with great accuracy. So she took the bottle out on the first grenade. But with the amount of awards and honors she received, she is certainly one of the most decorated women in military history, if not the most decorated. A whole lot of the stuff people claim about her is very likely accurate. Even post-war, she continued to receive honors and awards, like the Serbian silver and gold medals for her service in the Balkan Wars. The French offered to give her a military pension if she would move to France and live there. She declined, though, and lived in Belgrade in what was Yugoslavia the rest of her life, except under occupation during World War II, in a neighborhood that is now named after her. As for civilian life, well, she didn't have any school certificate, and she may have been illiterate, so she worked in a post office and was a janitor in a bank. She got married. She had a daughter, she got divorced, she eventually adopted 3 more daughters, but life really was on a downward trajectory. During
that time when she adopted 3 more daughters, I have read comments elsewhere that state that she also adopted multiple, or fostered, or at least helped multiple children that needed help and guidance. I'm not sure in what capacity she did that, but apparently she helped lots and lots of children over the time too.
World War II, she was put in a concentration camp for nearly a year after refusing to attend a banquet thrown by Milan Nedic, the collaborationist prime minister of Germany's puppet Serbian government. And even after that war, lived pretty much in poverty and obscurity. Well, until the half-century remembrances of the Great War in the 1960s.
And as somebody in my my comments told me that she lived in poverty for most of her life and actually wasn't given the recognition that she deserved for what she'd done.
That is. She turned up at those wearing her medals. And she had more medals than anybody. And the other soldiers sure remembered who she was and talked all about her legends and her exploits, so she became famous once again in her late 70s. She died at, possibly, the age of 85, October 5th, 1973, in Belgrade. Hers is a unique story any way you look at it, but she really was forgotten for a large chunk of the 20th century. That is no longer the case, and there have been movies and plays about her, and she is remembered as a Serbian war hero. Well, there's also a good song about her now, a Sabaton song. This is it.
Raise your hand for the lady of the dark, soldier with no will to kill with a philanthropic heart. Praise the Lord, she's the girl in uniform, fighting side by side with men, she will fight until the end.
Now, Per, I was thinking, what was I going to ask you about this song? And it was going to be about women in wartime, which is the obvious thing. But you have written stuff about other stuff about women fighting in wars, right?
Yes, obviously we have the Night Witches, which is also the name of the basically Sabaton ladies fan club.
Ladies, I like it as ladies.
Yeah, now there are ladies.
Because we're all gentle folk here.
Yeah.
And we did 2 episodes about night witches.
Yes.
But that was a different war.
That's a different war. That's true. Now we're in World War I, and we're looking for people that were extraordinary. And yeah, among all of them, I discovered the story about Milunka.
Well, it is a fantastic story, and I imagine because you don't think about it, you think, oh well, she fought well and she won all these awards and stuff. But how would you go about winning? You have to be way better than your contemporaries. But there are other great war stories. There's like the Russian Women's Battalion of Death, which would not be a bad band name if you had a band name that, especially if it was like a folk band, like a nice folk band. But what about, okay, just for a second, let's stop talking about women during the war. Maybe it's something you don't want to talk about. What about women in metal? What about women in hard rock and metal stuff?
Yeah, this is often a topic that comes to us, and we often discuss it. Sometimes it's like a little bit of a controversy, and some people want like, I don't want too many bands with girls, and some people want it. And
it is a male-dominated industry.
Yes, and we have always had a stance that anybody who is great is great.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It doesn't matter who we are. And there are a lot of good female ladies in heavy metal that stand out and really good. And we just had the Sabaton
There are a lot of female ladies. Gotta love Pa.
Open Air as we are filming this.
Right.
And we had several band members, several bands who were ladies.
Like who did you have here this year?
Wow. Amaranth, Burning Witches, and there was also Metalite, and we had a bunch of them.
But I want to carry along with the Sabaton Open Air Festival. I don't know if everybody out there knows, but you guys, we're filming this, in your compound in Falun, in Sweden, where you guys grew up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a festival here every year. It's your festival. It's the Sabaton Open Air Festival.
Yeah, it's been going on for quite some years.
How many years?
There was like a sneak peek in 2006.
Wow.
So it's been going on for quite some time. And then the first like real bigger festival type, it was 2008.
Yeah.
2009, we moved outdoors. And then we moved,
Sadly, we do not get anything like this in Australia of big metal festivals. I so wish.
We moved from having playing in the backyard of a rock bar to having multiple stages and 4 days open air festival in the big arena in Falun.
Is that what it was this year?
Yeah, that's what it was this year.
And how many guests did you have like this year?
We had over the course of the days, we had about 19,000.
That's pretty good.
So that's good. We had we have always a lot of fans from different nations coming. Because we're talking now, it's just past a few days since the actual
last
festival
weekend.
happened.
This is August right now, by the way.
But normal years, before the stupid virus, we had visitors from more than 40 countries every year, making it a very international festival. And this year I met people from some place like, that come pretty far. We met people from Middle East, like Bahrain, and we met people from from Africa. We met people from New Zealand, from Argentina, from Canada. Actually, a lot of people from Canada this year. And so it was.
And he doesn't mention anyone from Australia. That's bad. Australians, we need to represent.
It's still a very international, even though travel restrictions are still kind of.
It's kind of expensive to travel too now, just now. Now, do you guys play every year?
Sabaton has been playing every year, yes.
Yeah. And so if people want to be absolutely certain they can always see Sabaton play, they should always come to Fallen during the Fallen Open Air Festival.
Yeah, that's true. And we usually did some kind of special show there as well.
And what did you do? Did you do something special this year?
I mean, normal Sabaton show is not that long as we played a few days ago. So we played a couple of more songs, a little bit unusual songs.
Did you play Lady of the Dark?
We did not play Lady of the Dark. Damn, we should have done that.
Yeah.
How stupid can we be?
It's the wrong episode to talk about this.
Yeah,
You know, it's a great song, but we didn't play it.
But we played Shiriyama. It has nothing to do with Lady of the Dark.
Yeah,
but it was a good one.
No, that's I like Shiriyama. It's a song I forget about sometimes. That's you know what my current favorite is. I still like Attack of the Dead Men is my current favorite, but that changes like every 6 months. Maybe.
Do you know those last two songs? I've never even heard of. That both of them mentioned them.
I don't know if that like. You guys that are serious Sabaton fans and listen to a lot of Sabaton, do you have one song that's like your total favorite overall, that's always going to be your favorite, like Primo Victoria or Eclipse of Gallipoli or something like that? Or does it change? Because mine changes like every 5 or 6 months. It was Gott mit uns for a while. And then when I saw you live, it was Resist and Bite. The first time I saw you guys live, Resist and Bite just... Because I never thought that was such a special song till I saw it live. And that was just... Boom! I've mentioned that before, though. So.
I mean, for us, it's also like this. You know, it depends on. We have songs that are fun to play, and fun to listen to, and fun to write and record. Yeah. So it's very different.
Yeah, they don't always overlap.
No, they never overlap.
Yeah.
And so currently, I mean, my favorite now, I think, to listen to is Dreadnought.
Okay, yeah, it's a great song.
To play, it's actually Christmas Truce.
Okay,
it's so.
Okay, Dreadnought, I have not heard of. Christmas Truce, obviously I have, because I've done a reaction to that already. But there's now 3 songs up I didn't know of.
Damn emotional. We never thought that it's gonna resonate so good. So, as it does on the stages. I mean, the audience reaction is just absolutely amazing.
In, you know, the Christmas Truce video, you know, like you see Hannes with the grenades, you know, a grenade, right? Which that scene was in, there's a new export heavy metal documentary on Swedish television, which most of the world, I don't think it's been translated, can't see, but it's very good. And it's on the Swedish national television. That section of you, it's got the scene of Hannes there. And when I think of that, I was suddenly thinking, wait, but Hannes has to deal with women in metal every day, right?
Yes. So, obviously, his wife is the metal woman of the world.
Yeah, which we managed to gloss over a few minutes ago. we didn't even mention that. But that's
Cheers to Floor.
Yeah. Wait, which camera am I supposed to look at? I'm gonna. So you can either edit that out or you can make me look a little bit silly. Okay. Well, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, on Sabaton History.
Thanks for watching. That was awesome, right? So please subscribe to our channel and click that little bell so you get notifications the next time we release another episode of Sabaton History Channel.
Well, that was certainly an interesting watch, and what an amazing woman she was. I did a bit of research prior to doing this video and found out that in the Australian military, it's only been since 2016 that women have been allowed to be in frontline combat. Usually the capacity was usually to do with nursing or stores, physicians, stuff that basically kept you at home and not in the front line. I personally remember when I was about 14, 15 maybe, I went to go and talk to the Air Force to try and join up, and I was hell-bent on becoming a fighter pilot, And if I couldn't be a fighter pilot, I didn't want to be anything. At the time, my father, who is a warrant officer, he was with me. We walked up, started talking to the Air Force people. As soon as I said to them I wanted to be a fighter pilot, they looked at me and said, "You can't." And I was like, "Why?" "Oh, because you're a girl." And I'm like, hang on a second. I always got told that girls could do everything that boys could do, you know. So why can't I be a fighter pilot? It was bluntly explained to me at the time, and this was late 90s, so prior to the laws being changed in Australia in 2016. It was bluntly explained to me that my insides would be affected by the G-forces of the plane. And I said, why? Like, what does that mean? "Oh, well, you probably won't be able to have children." I said, "Well, what if I didn't want children?" You know, because at that point in my life, I really didn't think that I would ever have children, nor did I even want them. But then again, who does at 15? And they said, "Oh, you could change your mind." And I said, "But what if I don't change my mind?" And apparently the G-forces of the plane can cause infertility in women because of the pressure on the uterus, etc. So I was like, well, if I can't do what I want to do, then I don't want to join. So nowadays there are a few fighter pilot females in the Air Force, but not very many, and none of them can have children. But there are a lot more females in frontline roles. There is, however, only 20% female soldiers across the whole of Australian Defence Force. So, you know, it has only been 10 years. It might take another 10 years before there's more enlistments of females that go into different battle areas. But perhaps maybe people should look at the story of Milunka Savić and see that, you know, women have the ability to achieve greatness in war or in battle just as much as men do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I finally watched a Sabaton History Channel video. Hopefully I did it justice. I'm not entirely sure how to react to it, but hopefully I did a good job. And remember that if you liked this video, to give me a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you know when I've got new content. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye.